Good morning and welcome back to the channel, and thankfully the heat wave has gone. My God, it was warm. Wow. I've never experienced heat like that in the UK before, but it's gone now and we're back to how it should be this time of year. It's a little bit muggy, bit overcast today, but a nice day to be in the woods. Haven't got a lot of structure planned for this video. I went to the wilderness gathering in Wiltshire last weekend, something I do every year, and I bought a few new toys, a couple of knives, and I'm going to use one of them in this video. That's this knife. Now this is a Bison Bushcraft knife, and this one's a little bit special because I haven't seen one in this steel before, and this is 154cm. Quick history on this knife. This knife belonged to a friend of mine who passed away last year, and it was sitting in the cabinet all weekend, and I was looking at it thinking, I really want that knife. If you follow me, you know this is probably my favourite bushcraft knife design. I have got another two of these, but this one was a bit different. Orange G10, which I love because you can see it. It's got a beautiful Scandi grind on it, 0 Scandi, and it starts really close to the handle, which is always a plus. It came with a ferrorod, but it was red, a red handle. It was a Flyer Flash one, I believe, which is a good quality Swedish one, but I swapped it out for just the bar because I'm not really a fan these days of carrying my ferrorod on my sheath. I prefer to carry it separate, so I thought I'd put a smaller low-key one on there. I'm going to light the fire with this, and while I was in the wilderness gathering I gave a talk on feather sticks, and I managed to bring 2 pieces home. Obviously when you're giving a talk on something you want to use the best stuff you can, so I did get this from the other woods where I did the first DBK knife review, and this is basically a piece of that dead standing tree I used, and this would be very nice for feather sticks. I wanted to bring something nice so I could really try the knife out on good stuff rather than the stuff that's in this woods, which isn't very good for making feather sticks. Well, the first thing I want to talk about is fire lays. Now in a recent video when we had the heat wave, I didn't want to burn much because it was so warm, and I demonstrated the 3-point fire surround with an Indian's fire in it. Well, great for warm weather. Weather's changed. I'm going to go back to what I like, and what I like is no fire surround. I don't like fire surrounds, they get on my nerves. I prefer just a nice patch of open ground so you can adjust your fire easily. Bit damp. I just find rocks around the fire really restrictive. You know, if you're on your cooking fire and you're doing a crisscross to boil stuff quickly, great. When the evening comes, you want to turn it into a parallel for warmth, easy, you've got nothing in your way. Bare earth is the way to go in my book. Different in other parts of the world, you know, you want to keep that fire in case of forest fires. This place isn't going to light, trust me. When I did the DBK review part 2, well, in the woods part 2, I split up quite a bit of wood well, I'm going to use that today, because when the weather changes, if I don't put it somewhere really dry, it's just going to get wet quick, so I might as well use it up. It's a bit damp now. I'm going to put it around the edge, so when I light the fire, it'll help dry it out. I gathered some twigs on the way in. I think it must have rained last night because it is damp here. There's plenty of nice dry twigs. I took them all from the canopy, all hanging down. So it was a bit of a slow walk in. Plenty there though, just need a feather stick underneath it. First stage, then I'll take slightly thicker ones off and then leave the ends as a third go. I'll try and split this down now the Kohansky way, but it may be a bit too tough for that. No. Well, she's shaving really nice. The grind is just about perfect, but it could be sharper. Now I did strop this at home yesterday, but yeah. No, it is very sharp. Perhaps it's just me. I won't bore you with any more feather sticking. I'll crack on, and I'm going to make a work of art out of this one. Well, perhaps it's not a work of art, but it's not a bad feather stick. Got my tight curls here. Not even going to bother with an igniter stick this time. This one will be enough to get the twigs going. And just in time as well, because I'm getting nibbled. My bald head is feeling the little buckyballs, as my old dad used to call them, nibbling on my head. I'm going to get this fire going. That hasn't been used for a long time. Oxidation. It's nice and sharp. Well, that don't want to light. I'll give it a good one. problem, I've made that so tight it didn't want to go up, so I've got to blow it. I have spoken about this before. There we go, that's lit. Yeah, so a problem I have encountered before, making a feather stick so tight that inside only the tips start burning, but little blow and up it went. Put some bigger stuff on now, get the kettle on. And relax. Cup of tea. Next thing I want to talk about, firelighting. Obviously you watched me light that fire and I had that problem again, making that feather stick just too tight a bundle. I made another one while I was waiting for the kettle to boil. And this one's a bit tight as well, but nowhere near as tight as the other one. So yes, don't make them too tight. Ferrorod firelighting. Now, I say for about the last year, I've been trying my best get my head around just using the tip of the ferrorod and the tip of the knife. And I know that was Mors Kochanski's favourite way. Ray Mears uses it. Paul Kirtley uses it. You know, three guys who really know their stuff. I just can't get my head around it. I make the tiniest curls. I put the ferro rod on, I scrape it. Sometimes it'll go up quickly, other times it just won't, even with bone dry wood. But when I do the Yahoo method, anchor your hand, pull the ferro rod, I can usually do it in 1 or 2. So I think I'm going to stop using that technique, because I'm taking material off the ferro rod, thinking I'm doing well by doing it that way, but I'm actually better off doing it the Yahoo, taking 1 big one off, or 2, and lighting the ferro rod. So I think I'm going to scrap that method. Fine if you're going to light stuff in, you know, really fine, or birch bark, because when you're lighting birch bark, usually cut a square, rough it up with the spine. I know some people use the blade. No, I don't. I don't want to dull that blade in any way. Put some scrapings up, have a nice little pile, and then anchor the ferro rod down and do it that way, which is fine, because you don't want to do the big way, because you can knock it all ships. Everything goes flying. So I think that technique for me is going to stay with very fine tinders or anything that can go flying. Feather sticks, I'm going to stick to the Yahoo method, or what I call Neil's method, where you put the knife down, pull the ferro rod over the knife. That I like for fatwood. Yes. And last week in the wilderness gathering, where I did my feather stick talk, I made my igniter stick, and then I made a reasonably good stick. I tried the igniter stick with the thumb pushing method, and it took me about 5 goes. When I did the Yahoo method on the slightly not so good feather stick, went up first time. I think I got a round of applause as well, which is nice. Yeah. So just my 2 penneth on ferrorod firelighting. I think for feather sticks, I'm not going to use the thumb method. Doesn't suit me. And believe me, I've tried. And I'm going to try again. better. And it's just strange because the 154cm blade has got a very sharp spine, but that doesn't seem to want to scrape as well as the RWL34. Strange. Yeah, it's really sharp. Well, that's experiment time over, and I'll be honest with you, I think it's that 154cm. Don't think it wants to play ball. Interesting findings. One more thing I wanted to mention about this design. Now, I'm sure guys in North America, USA, Canada are really familiar with the James Handle tool. Now, I'd really like to have a James Handle tool, and his latest model is very similar to this. Now, I'm not saying for 1 minute that James Handle has copied this. I'm not. It just happens that the new handle tool is really similar. But he's got the 3 tubes, Moskowhansky's idea. But as for the knife, wow, it is similar. Very, very similar. So if you like that knife, but you can't get hold of them because he only does 10 every now and again, that is a very similar knife. But this design's been out for over 20 years. And that's a fact. Just thought I'd say, just thought I'd mention it. Last little test, I'm going to do a carving test. And I don't think for 1 minute this is going to be difficult. I'm going to put another notch in my stick. Piece of cake. Probably the easiest one I've done so far, and that's down to that nice fine tip on the continuous curve. That's it. Thank you very much for watching, and I did buy a couple of other things at the Wilderness Gathering, one of which was this knife, and this is a Victorinox Hunter. And the next video will be on this. Right, well, again, thanks very much for watching. I appreciate your comments, I appreciate your views, and I certainly appreciate that thumbs up. Till the next time, ta-ra. I do like this design. And if I wasn't such a nice guy, I'd rip it off. Well, I think that's experiment time over. I'm not finding the... Start that again. And last week, when I did my wrong one, start that again. I'm not going to bore you with any more feather sticking. My igniter stick I will probably... start that again, that shit.